everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Due to popular request and recent weather conditions, I thought I'd do a vlog on how to run in the rain. It seems like a fairly simple thing, I guess, if you've been a runner for a long time, but for a lot of people, and a lot of people will have started up during lockdown, running in the rain is one of the most daunting things, especially as the weather starts to become more and more miserable and you're still wanting to get out a lot, but the weather is just saying, no, you should stay inside and curl up in front of the fire. Obviously, as we move towards winter in the Northern Hemisphere, it will get colder, it will get more and more miserable outside, and the rainy days are gonna become more and more frequent. So it is really important to know how to run in the rain, how to make it less miserable, how to make the most out of it, because actually running in the rain isn't a miserable experience, or at least it doesn't have to be if you have the right kit and if you have the right attitude. So I asked my Instagram followers and a couple of my friends who are ultra running kind of geeks, I guess, people who do a lot of running in all sorts of weather conditions, and they gave me loads of ideas of how to run in the rain. So I kind of put them all together into this video so that hopefully I can help you guys get out and about. And I have to say, like, if you can run in the rain and if you can run throughout winter, you can run in anything. And I think that's really important to remember, because obviously winter months are some of the hardest months to get out. It is cold, it is dark, you're gonna be running in the dark quite a lot, especially if you have to get out in the morning before work or late in the evening after work. And if you can run through that sort of very unmotivating conditions, then you can run through anything, and I think that's something to be really proud of. So if you can get the hang of this, then you're sorted for the rest of your running career. So my first tip for running in the rain is to meet up with people, or at least know that other people are going as well. And this is a good general tip for motivation overall. If you know that you are meeting up with someone or going out on a run at the same time as someone else, and you can kind of encourage people, then that gives you more of an incentive to get out there and get it done, because you know that you're not in it alone. And that's one great thing about training programs and training for a particular event, because you know that you have to do a set number of training sessions, and if you're doing it with other people, then you don't feel alone, and you know that any misery that you might feel is shared with someone else, and you can kind of discuss it, and it becomes something that you do together, even if you're not physically in the same place. So yeah, if you can run with someone else or have a training partner, even if it's virtually, even if it's just online, then that's a really great thing to do. I'll talk about kit later, but my second tip is to not overdress. At the moment it's only autumn, so in the UK at least it's actually not that cold, and that's something that as it cools down you can be tempted to sort of wrap up quite a lot, because when you're sitting down it is kind of cold. But actually when you get out for a run, it's amazing how quickly your body will heat up and get into a state where actually if you're wearing 3 layers and a jacket, you're gonna really overheat. This is something that I get wrong all the time, and if you watched any of my vlogs, in fact if you watch any of my vlogs in winter, you will see that quite often I start off in very many layers, and every time I film I've got 1 layer stripped off, and by the end I'm usually in a t-shirt or my sports bra and overheating by the end of the run, despite the fact that it's, you know, looking quite cold outside. So the problem is, if you overdress at the beginning of a run, chances are you will end up very sweaty, and as soon as you take off those layers you will start cooling down much quicker. So you want to get your layers right, and there is a great saying, be bold, start cold. In reality you should be dressing for a temperature about 10 degrees above the temperature it is. So say it's 10 degrees Celsius, you should be dressing for 20 degrees Celsius, because your body will heat up so much during the course of the run, and it'll be relatively quick as well. You won't be cold for too long. And as I say, this is something that I need to get used to, because I'm not very good at it and I get cold really easily. One thing that I would recommend is to make sure that your ears and your hands are not cold, and then the rest of you will kind of handle itself. Your ears and your hands are the bits that cool down really quickly, and once they're cold, the rest of your body can be cold. Investing in gloves and ear warmers is probably a really good thing to do, especially if you're a woman as well, because we tend to run a few degrees colder than men do. And our perfect temperature for running is about 10 to 11 degrees Celsius, whereas for men it's about 9 to 10 degrees. So there's a very, very small difference, but it is still there. Men, in the rain, your nipples will probably rub, so just wear Vaseline or something to stop that happening. It is thankfully something that women, we don't actually have to deal with, because of course we've got sports bras, but it is something that if you are not used to, and if you haven't run in the rain a lot, then you're going to be in a lot of pain, especially over a long run. So just Vaseline up, make sure that it is all fine and dandy, and then by the time you get back from your run, hopefully you won't be bleeding on your top. This is something that the Tribe Run for Love crew really hit home, so So they wanted me to put that in here because I think for beginner runners it can be something you don't necessarily think of, and they're really unpleasant when it eventually happens to you. Fourth tip is to wear a cap. Caps aren't necessarily just for sunny conditions. Caps are really good for keeping the rain off your face. I wear mine a lot, especially if the weather conditions are variable. I tend not to wear it so much when it's really windy, although you can get some caps that have a little clip on them so that they don't come flying off if you are in the wind. But yeah, for rain they're really good at keeping the rain off your face. Fifth thing to note is that cooler runs are easier on your body, so actually they're a really good time to get personal bests, which is probably one of the reasons, I actually don't necessarily know that this is true, but probably one of the reasons that most big races, marathons and half marathons, tend to be in spring or autumn, because it's not going to be rained off, but chances are the weather will be a little bit cooler or a lot cooler than it is obviously in the middle of summer. So you are much more likely to get in a good race if it is not 28 degrees outside. As anyone who has run the London Marathon in 2018 or thereabouts will attest to, it's really difficult in the heat. Having this cooler weather and having rain, which will cool you down even quicker, can actually mean that you get in some really good times. And if you're not too bothered by it, then actually you can get some great training sessions in. And of course, if you're running faster, you're going to heat up quicker, and cooler weather and rain can cool you down much better. My sixth point is that your skin is waterproof. Nothing bad is going to happen if you get out in the rain. This isn't a tip per se, but I think we can overthink it quite a lot. You're probably watching this vlog because you are also overthinking it, but nothing's bad is going to happen if the rain gets on your skin, so long as you are warm. Okay, so kit. Invest in good kit. It is something that is going to be so helpful to you, and I think it's worth spending a little bit more money on, because unlike your everyday civilian clothes, you're going to be wearing this probably every time you go running in the rain, so you're going to get a lot of use out of it. So you need something hard wearing that is really versatile. I would recommend getting a lightweight waterproof jacket and a taped seams one as well. The lightweight ones are not so waterproof, but they're water resistant. They also scrunch up really small, so if you need to travel with them or pack them into a bag, they're really useful for that. And of course, if you need to put it around your waist, it's super lightweight, so it's not going to hold you back at all. The tape seams ones is for really heavy rain and colder days. They're less breathable, although you can get some really good breathable ones, so they're not really recommended for when the weather is any warmer or not super duper rainy. I have found mine invaluable, especially when it's very windy as well, because they're very good barriers against the wind. Also, invest in a good base layer. A good base layer will keep you warm when it's cold, but also cool you down when you get hot and prevent you from sweating through all of your clothes and then getting really cold as soon as the temperature cools down. I have loads of recommendations. In fact, I've got a vlog called Winter Running Kit. Go and check that out because I share a lot of my favorite ones there. And during my ultramarathon vlog as well, I go through all of my kit, and I will link all of this down below so that you guys can check them out at your leisure. If you are doing a lot of rainy runs and running on trails, I would recommend investing in some waterproof trail shoes. Waterproof shoes aren't always necessary, but if you do run a lot of trail races or trail runs in wet weather or around the winter, then it is worth getting some, because of course if your shoes get wet and you get wet on the inside, then your shoes are going to rub and there's a good chance that you're going to get a blister, and blisters are the worst thing when it comes to running because they're just so demoralizing and you just don't really want to continue when you got a horrible blister. By getting some waterproof shoes, you're much less likely to get wet feet. I personally use Columbia Caldorado 3, and they have something called Outdry, which is their version of Gore-Tex. But essentially there are loads of different brands out there, and they are generally very breathable now, so you're not going to get really sweaty like sweatbox feet. There are loads of great shoes out there, and I would recommend them if you are running in the rain or running anything traily that has the chance of getting your feet very wet. Having spoken all about the benefits of running in the rain, I would also have to put a disclaimer in that you should probably avoid the most stormy days. If there's a named storm coming and there are 70-mile-an-hour winds, it's probably not a good idea to get out. It's not safe, it's not enjoyable, and you're probably not going to get a good run in. Generally, even if you run quite a lot, you can plan your run days around these stormy days, and while I don't mind running in the rain, I do tend to plan my training to avoid the rainiest days during the week, because I don't mind a bit of drizzle, but actually if there's horizontal rain, I know that I'm not going to run well. I'm probably not going to be looking where I'm going. It's a little bit more dangerous, especially if you're under tree cover, because you know, branches might fly off the trees and come into your face. I have to say I would recommend avoiding that. If you're also running at night and in bad visibility, of course, please do tell people where you're going. Even put a beacon on your phone or your location, just for peace of mind for both your family and yourself. It's unlikely that anything bad is going to happen, but better safe than sorry, and I just don't think it's worth being at risk for the sake of getting in an extra 5k run. If you are a glasses wearer, don't be. I am thankfully not a glasses wearer, but there are so many people who say if you wear glasses, try and switch to contacts out on your run because you just won't be able to see anything. You need windscreen wipers if you're going out running in glasses, so just try and avoid those. If you need a little bit of motivation, motivate yourself with what you're going to do post-run. This is one of my favourite things. If I'm going out into the dark, into the cold, into the rain, then quite often I will think about what I'm going to do when I come back, and one of my favourite things to do is have a really nice hot bath and a cup of tea. So British of me, but it's one of the things that gets me out because actually I'm really excited to come back. And tea and baths are so nice after a really cold run. They're actually like way nicer after you've done something really strenuous than they are just in and of themselves. But whatever it is, you know, whether it is your dinner, whether it's your lunch, your breakfast, or, you know, having a chat to a friend, or a bath, or a hot shower, or tea, or cake, you know, all of this kind of stuff is a great way to motivate yourself to get out because you'll just want to get back as soon as possible. And all of them are much nicer after, like once you've kind of done your run of the day, they're all much nicer after that point. So motivate yourself with what you're going to do after your run. My 11th thing is not to forget to drink. Of course, when it's colder outside, you're going to be sweating less, but actually you still sweat quite a lot when you're out on the run. And so it's really important to remember to drink water. Obviously, if you're going for a short run, you don't need to take water with you, but you still need to drink water throughout the day. What I find quite useful is to drink a lot of water as soon as I wake up in the morning so that I'm well hydrated and not trying to catch up on drinking throughout the day. If I'm going on a longer run, even if it's cold and wet and windy and rainy outside, I still take water with me over about 15 kilometers plus because I don't want to dehydrate, and dehydration is one of the worst things that you can do for your performance but also your health while on a run. So yeah, you just got to be careful with that because you might not feel as thirsty as you do when it's super hot, but you're still sweating. My 12th tip is to put your phone somewhere waterproof. The worst feeling in the world, finding out that your phone has water damage, so just stick it in a sandwich bag or something like that and then just put it somewhere waterproof in your bag. If you have a tape seamed jacket, then quite often they will have waterproof pockets as well, so it's unlikely to get wet. Make sure that you've planned for where your electronics are going to go whilst on the run. For women or anyone with long hair, braid it. Don't just leave it in a ponytail. If you leave it in a ponytail, it will be impossible to deal with when you get back. I learned this the hard way whilst training for Tokyo Marathon. Essentially spent about 40 minutes after I got back from a 20-kilometer run just trying to detangle my hair, and that was really not what I wanted to be doing when I got back. And so ever since then, for any really wet or windy runs, I tend to put my hair in French plaits, and that prevents it from getting all mushed into some sort of bird's nest. So yeah, I would recommend learning how to do those if you can, or asking a friend if you can't. So my last tip is just to have fun. There is nothing wrong with running in the rain, and it takes a bit of getting used to, but generally the hardest part is just getting out the door. And once you're out and about, it's actually so much fun. You can kind of be a bit of a child with it, and chances are the rainy days are the days when there'll be the fewest people out, and you kind of have a bit of rapport when you see another runner out on a rainy day. You kind of think like, that's pretty cool, you're a badass, and so am I for being out here, so yeah, we're cool. But it's really nice actually because there are so few people out and you don't have to people dodge. You can splash through the puddles, and there's something kind of freeing about it. I don't really know what it is, but I know a lot of people who prefer running in the rain, my sister included, for whatever reason, and I don't think they're entirely insane for thinking that. I think there is something a bit special about it, even if it is really hard to get out in the rain. But just try and enjoy it, try and have fun, because Lord knows you will need to enjoy it to make the most of every winter, and there's so many opportunities for running and for having a bit of fun with it, so it's best not to waste those. So I hope you enjoyed this vlog. For all of those of you in the southern hemisphere, do go and watch my How to Train in the Heat vlog, because that will be useful for you guys in the months coming up. If you did enjoy this, please do give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. There'll be loads more running content and some other quite exciting content coming your way soon. I have a bunch of crazy challenges coming up, so hopefully you will enjoy those as well. Watch this space. Alrighty, see you guys later. Bye!